fishy, fishy. Look at how many millions of babies, not millions, but quite a few babies. You can come up closer here. I just had surgery and I wanted to share some things with you. As far as being your own advocate when you are having procedures or you have questions. I was a medical phlebotomist. I worked in the laboratory in the hospital drawing patients' blood, and I would draw between 30, 40, 50 patients on babies and older people. I was a very good phlebotomist. In fact, I would teach the new young hires phlebotomy. So with that in mind, when I went to the hospital, nurse was going to draw. She was going to draw. Get closer. She was going to do the blood samples and the IV at the same time, and I told her that this vein has too many valves, and historically it won't work. Well, she refused to listen to me, and then she tried to poke here in another place. Anyway, that was 3 times, and it had a valve, and when there's valves, you can't draw blood as enough to do some blood work. So then that was the nurse, the IV nurse, very skilled, and she couldn't get me. So then the phlebotomist came in, and she wanted to poke me here. And I said, no, that's a tendon. There's nothing antecubital, meaning in the bend of my arm, because I have torn rotator and torn bicep muscle, and it changed the veins in my arms. And she says, no, you got a good one. I says, no, it's not good. Well, she poked me and she didn't get anything. Then she poked me here, and I says, that's not a good one. Can you just do it right here? I have a hunker right here. She says, well, that's just too painful. I says, I don't care. I'd rather you poke me once and draw your blood here and get what you needed. She needed several tubes. But she wouldn't listen to me. And I was scared. I was going to have surgery. I didn't stand up for myself like I should have. I should have said, no, I want you to take my blood here. And I should have told the IV nurse, I want you to take it here, because this is where historically, because I had over 60 blood transfusions during a 3.5-year period of time when I had an arteriovenous malformation known as the AVM. It's like an aneurysm. So I had one time I was poked 11 times in one day trying to get blood. That was a nightmare for me. So anyway, you have to stand up for yourself. If you don't want them to, if you don't feel comfortable with what they're doing, tell them, no, this is my body. I don't want you to do this. And that's what I should have done instead of allowing her to go ahead with. Anyway, so I don't want to show my butt side, but I'll show you my back. You see the bruising?
Yeah.
The bruise. Is there bruise here?
Yeah. No, no, there.
Anyway, this is where they cut me. Right now, it's very, very painful, but, and this isn't fat, that's just swelling. Well, yeah, this is swelling, it's not fat. Anyway, you can be your own advocate. I had asked for some pain meds, and the nurse says, well, we can give you some Dilaudid. And I says, okay. She says, we'll give you Dilaudid at 8 and then give you oxycodone at 9. I says, oh good. I says, because I'm really uncomfortable. I was almost in tears. Then shift change. The new nurse came in. She said, no, I'm not going to give you Dilaudid because that'll interfere with you going home, because we can't send you home with IV drugs. Well, the Dilaudid only lasts for 20 minutes to half an hour in your blood system. And I had eaten a large, you got eggs and stuff like that So I knew the oxycodone pills would take at least an hour to get into my system. But she refused to give me the Dilaudid. And then I said, well, for sure, give me my pain meds at 9 o'clock, no later. Please, I am suffering. And I was crying, I had tears. And 9 o'clock came, 9:05, 9:10. So I called and I says, I want my medication now. I'm hurting. And then she came in and she says, well, I told you I'm busy. I says, I don't care if you're busy. I'm in pain. You promised to bring my pain meds at 9 o'clock. She says, well, it's not that much. I says, by the time you go get my pain meds, it's going to be another 20 minutes. And it was. I didn't get my pain meds until 9:25. So I had to wait. And she treated me like I was just some kind of drug addict. But I had major surgery. You can see my muscles were pulled apart. My spinal cord was reamed out. So I had serious pain. And she was being nasty. And I says, you know what? I don't want you to be my nurse anymore. I've never been treated this badly. And I've had over 20 surgeries, and I've never had anybody be so nasty. So I called the nursing supervisor, and I asked the nursing supervisor to come in, and I explained everything, and she said that shouldn't have happened. I said, and I told the nurse when she came and gave me my 2 pills, I says, I want 3 pills. Well, I don't know. I says, I want 3 pills, and I want them now. So she gave me the 2 pills and then went back and got the other pills. So by the time she was done giving me medication, it was 9:30. So a half hour, I had to wait a half hour. And I hadn't had any pain meds in 6 hours, and I was supposed to get it every 3 hours. So I was in tears. So I told the nursing supervisor, and she said, wow, that shouldn't have happened. She says, she gave me a card. She says, I want you to file a complaint with the staffing. So that's what I'm going to do. And the nurse came back in, and I says, you know what? She's just like 23 years old, just a new nursing student. I says, you have never suffered. You've never had to suffer. And you should thank God that you've never had to suffer. I've had over 20 surgeries. I had a head-on collision with a drunk. I have torn rotators, torn biceps. I've had 2 bowel resections, a knee replacement, and spinal stuff. I said, you have never had anything like that. And I know that because you don't care. You are acting like you could care less about my pain. So I'm going to file. I don't like filing a complaint. I know nurses work hard. My mom was an RN, but my mom never, she was a nursing supervisor. My mom, in all of her career, never had a bad strike against her, and that speaks volumes. My mom was very caring to her patients. Anyway, be your own advocate. If you don't want something, if you don't want them to draw there, tell them, no. No. Please, no. I'm not going to let you, and that is your right. So stand up for yourself, because there's no reason for them to be poking. Let's see, how many pokes did I get? 6 pokes? 6 or 7 pokes. Anyway, stand up for yourself.